So, of course, by the time Jesus has appeared on the scene, the religious leaders, the religious Jewish leaders, had turned this beautiful gift that God had given us of spending time with God, working on a relationship with God. They had turned it into nothing but an endless, tyrannical system of tedious rules. Just like they did with everything, right? They had taken, as usual, they had taken God's invitation to relationship, and they turned it backwards and transformed it into nothing but a petty obsession with physical behavior. That's what they did with everything. And what they had also added multitudes of their own additional rules and regulations on top of what God had said around this whole idea of observing the Sabbath. So I want to just share a couple of those with you to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's some of these rules that I found that the Jewish religious leaders had added on top of the how to observe the Sabbath. Okay, so this is one of the elaborate rituals that they had concocted themselves on top of what God had said. So here's the first one. Ancient rabbis taught that on the Sabbath, a man could not carry something in his right hand or in his left hand, and he could not carry anything across his chest or on his shoulder. Okay, but he could carry something on the back of his hand. He could carry something with his foot or with his elbow or in his ear or on his hair or in the hem of his shirt or in his shoe or his sandal. Okay, so can you just imagine all of the crazy, hilarious scenes that would come about because of these ridiculous rules? Okay, people carrying something on their elbow or in their ears. I mean, ridiculous. Okay, here's another one. All right, so on the Sabbath, it was forbidden to tie a knot. Okay, so you couldn't take a string or a rope and tie a knot. Okay, so the one exception was that a woman could tie a knot in her girdle because we have to be modest, right? So if a bucket of water on the Sabbath day, if a bucket of water needed to be brought up from a well, you could not tie a rope to the bucket to pull it back up. But you know what you could do? A woman could take her girdle and she could tie one end of her girdle to the bucket and then tie the other end of her girdle to a rope. Ridiculous and crazy, okay? So in Jesus' point, and that's just two, okay? That's two examples of the many rules and regulations that they had just made up to just, make life really, really difficult and make everybody miserable, because that's usually what they did. Oh, Scott's given us an additional rule. This is one of the other additional rules, I guess, that the Jewish religious leaders added. He said, my favorite law was the one that said, if a wall falls on someone on the Sabbath, you can dig down far enough. You can dig down far enough to see if it is a Jew or a Gentile under the rubble. If he's a Jew, then you can dig him out. But if he's a Gentile, you have to just leave him there. Sorry, it's the Sabbath. I'll come get you out tomorrow. And I can't bring you any water while you're down there because I can't tie a rope onto the bucket to bring the water bucket. Oh my goodness, guys, this is so funny. So, I mean, it's funny, but it's also really sad because the people were under these laws. It was breaking their backs. It was breaking their souls and their spirits. So they completely missed the point. It's all about relationship with God, with Jesus.